What up, potty people, and welcome back to Clipped. As always, I'm Eric, your host, and Clipped brings you podcast production tips, resources, podcast education, and conversations with my potty pals, all aimed to help you become a better, more efficient podcaster. We're on a mission to help you start, grow, and monetize your show. I gotta be completely honest, I am kind of getting tired of talking about podcasting, and it's weird because I love podcasting. It's a huge passion of mine. It's my 9 to 5, so to speak. It's what I do all day long. But I was just reflecting as I moved into this new house and new studio, like I'm trying to make things more fun. I feel like I'm getting a little burned out. Podcasting's a grind. And so when you're passionate about something, and then, you start to feel like it's not as fun as it used to be, it can really throw you for a loop. Like 1 minute you're cranking out episodes, you're buzzing along, the sky is the limit. And the next you're kind of sitting in your studio staring at the mic being like, fuck, what am I going to talk about? It happens to everybody. And I'm kind of in that phase too. And I feel like it's partly this transition of life with the move and the baby and yada, yada, yada. But in this episode, I'm going to be talking about ways to kind of manage this. And you don't want to just throw in the towel and quit. It's a season and things ebb and flow. Sometimes to get creative ideas and to create, you need a little bit of space. And when you're constantly thinking about, oh no, I got to crank this out, I'm anxious, I got to do the video, then I got to write the show notes, I've got to put clips for social, and I got to promote it, and it's a lot. And I think you get caught up not performing to the best of your ability or coming up with your best ideas because you're focused on like the work side of it. When it comes to business, they talk about working in the business rather than working on the business. And I feel like I have been working in the business, and it's time for me to kind of start working on the podcast as the business. Take a breather, whether it's a week. I took a week a couple weeks ago when I moved, and that was like a big relief. So take some time, figure out what you want. This is where your why comes in. Why did you do this? What do you hope to achieve? What are your goals? Who do you want to talk to? How do you want to help them? Why do you want to help them? And I think it's okay for that to change over time. I think that, you started out with one perspective, and as things have gone on, I'm in 90 some odd episodes, and things are starting to shift and starting to change. And I think that's good. I think that's healthy. If you're a musician, from one album to the next or one show to the next, time goes by, moods change, you get older, you start thinking about life differently. Same goes for podcasting. You start thinking about it differently. Time has gone by, you've learned, you've grown, and there's nothing wrong with that. I challenge you to mix it up, whether that's taking a break, whether that's re-reflecting on your why and what you want to do and how you want to move forward with your show. If you're feeling like this, if you're fully in the zone, you're crushing it, I think that's great. I don't think you need to pause. I think if you're feeling a moment of burnout or things aren't as fun as they used to be, that might be a good time to mix it up. I've been doing a lot of solo. I think I need to get more guests and more broad array of guests in the content creation world. But if you're feeling this way, figure what that is for you. Experiment with some new ideas. Maybe do some Q&As, show swaps, tap into your community, ask them questions. And that'll help bring a new energy to your podcast. So that begs a question for me to ask you. Is there anything that you guys are excited to learn about or want to hear about? Or maybe you've been listening to this show too and you're getting burned out. If you're a fan and you want me to mix it up or you have some ideas, would love to hear from you. Go to info@thepodcasthaven.com. Shoot me an email. Happy to chat and take some advice. I'm not above that. Or you could slide into my DMs, the Podcast Haven on Instagram. I hang out there a lot. If you've got some questions that you want answered or some ideas, let's join forces. Mixing it up, leaning on your community. And this big one, which I haven't been taking my own advice on, is streamlining your production process. Maybe for you, you're feeling burnt out because things aren't that efficient with your workflow. Like I said, I already edited a show today for a client. I had to go to the post office to change my address for this new place. I've answered some Slacks and some emails, and I'm just getting around to recording this. And I realize, like I said, even though I can do it quickly and edit quickly, it needs to be released in under 48 hours. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not following my own advice. Streamline the process. Get ahead of the game. Get that production calendar on point and follow it. That way, you've always got something in the can. I have talked about repurposing episodes. That might help with burnout as well. Or if you're at a like turning point or you're stalling and you don't know what to do, you could always do that. But I think it's time to invest in some new workflow, maybe some new tools. Hell, I get excited. I'm a big equipment guy. And I don't know that you need to do this, but sometimes like a new piece of equipment gets me excited. You got to be careful because that can also be like an addiction. And there's like always the answer is buying something because it gives you that adrenaline dump, or what is it? Not epinephrine, dopamine, that hit, and then you're excited, even if it's temporarily. Whatever you need to do to mix up the energy, that's what it's all about. That's what I'm trying to say, at least. So new tools. Maybe you need to outsource. Maybe you need to outsource some tasks. I have outsourced clips. If you want to follow on my social, I'm using Minvo for that. David at Minvo, Minvo is great. If you need clips for your show, hit him up. Very reasonable. We'll knock them out daily for you. I think reducing workload can help alleviate some of that stress. And even for me, that's something that I've been working on and playing with. And man, I just want to have fun again. Podcasting can be fun, although some of the stuff I talk about is heady. My goal is to kind of have some more fun and talk shit and laugh and just like get people on and let's have a good time while educating and while trying to add value. But yeah, that's something I'm working on. That's something I'm looking forward to. So, take that break if you need to, reflect on your why and your goals and maybe mix some things up, like handle that. Ask your community. That's another thing. Sorry, I'm just going through these right now. New set of goals, new equipment, something to get that spark back. And it can take time, so don't trip. Sometimes you got to grind it out. If you have a goal to like release content weekly, you got to grind it out. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you start to do that for too long, then it just feels like a slog. And lastly, self-care. I ran a mile today and then walked the remaining mile. The first mile is all uphill because I live in the hills now. And getting enough sleep is crucial. I went to bed, for me, late last night. It was like almost midnight, which is late for me since I have a daughter. Usually in bed because I'm exhausted by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Healthy diet, that's another thing. I fucking ate a bunch of donuts yesterday. So I know that when I eat better, I feel better and I get more ideas and I'm more excited to do things and to work on the business and on the podcast. Just here to offer some encouragement and some support, and just know that if you're feeling it, it's okay, because even the people that do this for a living, like myself, we feel it too. So share your stories. If you've got some burnout, I dropped the email earlier, but it's info@thepodcasthaven.com or Instagram @thepodcasthaven. Would love to hear from you if you're dealing with burnout, or if you've got some new fresh ideas or a new fresh perspective, or some tips for myself. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me on this one. Good things ahead for myself, for you. Stoked to be bringing you this. Thank you for listening to my sob story, or whatever you want to call it. I was kind of dumped a lot on you right there, but hopefully there's some encouragement in there, and just hearing my story, if you're relating to it, just know you're not alone. Keep listening, keep engaging, and keep creating. I'm out.